Absolutely. So, hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are on the planet right now. We have a few people, South Africa, Australia, England, even somebody from Spain. So we've got a nice international collection of people from LifeWave. And it's my real pleasure today to introduce Merle Westcott, who's in South Africa. And Merle is a presidential director in the company. And Merle is going to help us with the presentation today. So some of you are new to LifeWave, and some of you have been in for quite a while. And what we'll be doing today is sharing a little bit of the stories and testimonials from people. And then Merle will give us a presentation and then also talk about the business side of LifeWave as well. So without further ado, I'd like to hand you over to the beautiful Merle in South Africa.
Thanks so much, Adrian. So my story is that I came to LifeWave in December 2022 when it was very new in South Africa. I didn't know what I was letting myself in for, but I have been in complementary healing for nearly 30 years as a life alignment practitioner, and I'm also a low-carb nutritionist. For those of you who know who Sally Ann Creed is and the Real Meal Revolution, I wrote the Low Carb Creed, which was a follow-up with Sally Ann. So my background is based in complementary therapy, but also in healing with nutrition and doing blood tests on clients and seeing the changes as you change things with nutrition, which obviously take quite a long time. So when I joined LifeWave, it was never to build a business because I had done multi-level marketing before, and my impression of it was that it wasn't a great thing to do. When my in-laws passed away, we still had tons of bottles of all kinds of stuff that they'd done way back when in MLM that were in their garage and that they'd never succeeded with. So I can't do anything about muting that ding that Adrian has said, his like doorbell on the Zoom. And I thought, now I can't do this to people. But I thought, okay, I'm going to come in on the binary, which we'll explain later, because we're going to use product and it's going to be the most reasonable way for me to get it. My husband has had tinnitus for over 20 years. And I'd heard from a friend in Spain that LifeWave worked on tinnitus, or X39 worked on tinnitus. I didn't know there were other products when I joined. So today our presentation focuses on X39, which is our core product, and that was the first product we used. What happened though was, in the first week of using X39, my shoulder that I'd injured in 2012 during a fitness challenge, and that I'd battled with since then, lots of visits to the chiro, physio, all sorts of things, I was definitely not doing surgery on my shoulder, improved so dramatically that for the first time in years, I could actually sleep with my arm under the pillow. Now, I always say to the chiropractors in my team that I know that's not how you're supposed to sleep, and I don't do it all the time, but I could do it again. So what happened was a friend phoned and she was complaining about her shoulder. She had tennis elbows. She couldn't do anything with her arm. She'd been going to the physio for 3 months, and she phoned me about something completely different. Nobody knew that I had joined LifeWave. And I said, well, I've got this little patch. I can't play tennis. I can't do this. I can't do that. Got patches to her the next day, and she's what we call a one-patch wonder. 23 minutes later, Elodie lifted her arm above her shoulder and said, I'm in. What is this? I don't care what it is. I want in. And she then did some research, put her late mom, who was 86 at the time and had stage 4 dementia, hadn't spoken since the beginning of COVID. Her mom was in Kimberley, she was in Durban, put her mom on the patches, and within a week, her mom was communicating again. A lot of it didn't make sense, but she could at least tell the carers, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I'm in pain. And she again, for the first time in years, recognized all her daughters and called them by name. And every now and then she had sentences that made perfect sense. So that was the first person that came in. I was still not doing anything with the business. It was in December. January, a friend or life alignment client saw me. She's also one of my students, and she said, what are you doing? You're looking good. I told her, and she signed up, and she told a lady called Karen. Now, if you haven't seen Karen's story, we can share it with you all. But Karen, 34 years ago, now 35 years, had what's called an internal decapitation. It's a hangman's injury. So her skull was detached from her spine, but it took them 5 years to discover what had happened. In between, she kept going paralyzed. She would turn and she would drop, and she could be paralyzed for an hour a day, 2 days, a week, a month, 3 months, and nobody knew what it was. They kept saying it was soft tissue damage because every time they x-rayed, they saw everything look normal. They didn't realize that the movement of the skull was impinging on her spinal cord and damaging it. 5 years later, when she went paralyzed in America, so it happened in South Africa, UK, America, where she ended up in hospital. An orthopedic surgeon in the States said there's something very wrong, but those were the days where South Africans couldn't get much money out of the country. And he said, I know you're going home for a wedding. I want to talk to the doctor who supported you the most. I want to tell them how to x-ray you. That's what happened, and they discovered that her skull was detached from her spine. They put 8 of the top medical professionals in the field together, and they decided on how they were going to do surgery. They told her parents she may not live through the surgery, but they did it anyway. So they attached her skull to her spine with titanium, and they did bone grafts from her hips. But all the damage and all the scar tissue from the surgery meant that she still had a lot of pain. She battled, she wore a neck brace all the time, and things just got worse and worse. She had more and more surgeries to try and give her movement and things, and that didn't really help. So when she started patching in January last year, she had been almost bedridden for the last 12 years, hadn't driven a car, could barely leave her house. If she wanted to go somewhere, it took her a week to build up the energy to do it. She would be collected, be taken somewhere, and what would happen is maybe an hour later, she would need to be taken home because that was all that she could manage. A month after she started patching, she was driving her husband's car. By September last year, she went to Greece and she walked 15,000 steps a day. This last weekend, she's in the Cape with her daughter and she's done walks. When I saw that happening, that is when I realized what we had our hands on, and I thought, I can't keep this a secret. I have to tell everybody. This is completely different to any other company. And we're an MLM company because if somebody doesn't tell you about the product, you are going to walk into a pharmacy or health shop, see this little sleeve of patches, and these little things. There's one on my wrist today. And you're going to leave because you're going to go, well, I don't know what they do. They're telling me that they're going to activate my stem cells, but I don't know any stories. This really is the word of mouth business. But it can change your reality, health and finances. So that is how I started building a business. And I now have a network all over the world from never going to be telling a single person. So let's go into the presentation. I'm going to share my screen. I'm just going to change my display settings. Right. Is that right? You're seeing just have you been patched yet? Perfect. Thanks, Adrian. So the big question here is, have you been patched yet? Many of you on the call are brand partners already. Others are waiting for your patches to arrive. You've just signed up. And then there's some of you who haven't been patched. So we always ask, have you been patched yet? We can't look at LifeWave without looking at David Schmidt, who is the CEO and inventor of X39. He's invented many other patches, but X39 is the product we're going to focus on today because it really is now our flagship product, although it is one of the newer products in the company. David has over 130 patents on X39. He said he stopped counting at 130, but there are a lot more. He's a scientist and inventor. And in 2008, he started focusing his attention on age reversing and on stem cell research because that was the buzzword in the pharmaceutical industry. And so we have over 130 patents, and he specializes in age reversing, and it took him 10 years and 4.5 million to bring this to market. What does our patent say? Our patent says this is the embodiment as a result of elevating copper peptides, including activation of stem cells, improvement in energy, and an elevation of antioxidants, reduction in inflammation, management of pain, improvement in stamina, elevation of collagen production, and improved wound healing. And for those of you who don't know, to have a patent, you have to prove that exactly what is in that patent is true. So there's all the scientific research behind it. And the exciting thing is we have 16 years left on the patent, so nobody can copy what we are doing. So why X39 stem cell activation patches? So the fewer stem cells you have, the faster you age and the slower you heal. So hundreds of millions of people are experiencing symptoms of aging. But what I didn't know before I joined LifeWave, although I knew what stem cells were and what they did, I didn't realize that by the time you turn 30, only half your stem cells are active. And by 60, you lose almost all stem cell activity. Now, I turned 58 this month, which means that my stem cells were definitely on the downward slide when I I joined, and I definitely had the inflammation in my shoulder. That was where that was happening. So how does the X39 work? It's a proprietary form of phototherapy, so it works off the light that is emitted from the body. So phototherapy in its simplest form, if you have a jaundiced baby, they put them under lights to change the jaundice. That would be phototherapy. But in this case, it's a light emitted from your body. It's not anything external. It's not the sunlight. It's the infrared light that comes off your body. It's a patented nanocrystal technology. The crystals are made of amino acids, glucose, and salts. They reflect light to activate. They're non-transdermal. There are no drugs, chemicals, or stimulants, and they're non-invasive. At this point, because I've had this question over the last, I don't know how many presentations I've done, people say, where do the stem cells come from? The stem cells come from within your body. They're your own stem cells. We're not giving you any. The patches activate your copper peptides, which stimulate your own stem cells. And I know it sounds strange that I'm saying it, even though it's in the presentation, but I've noticed that people go like, where are these stem cells from? They're yours, okay? That's the most important thing, they're your stem cells. So what are the benefits of X39? In other words, activating your stem cells. Increased strength, reduced inflammation, increased stamina, energy and vitality, mental clarity. So many people comment on the mental clarity. They are blown away by how much clearer they think, how much better, how much more work they get done, the focus, the laser sharp focus they have. Restored muscle or skeletal conditions, improvement of sleep, and that's a big one, because if your sleep improves, your body can heal. And then improved skin appearance. Now, for me, that's a funny story, because a year into patching, I changed my profile picture, and one of my nutrition clients phoned me and said, have you had a facelift? No, I just been patching for a year with X39, no facelift. So you achieve an optimal health, a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. So how can we prove that this works? This is a very interesting slide. It is a 77-year-old woman, and it's a scan of her brain. It's a special kind of resonancing. It's a topography map. And I know Adrian Oliver phoned me and he said that that's only used in geography, but no, they're topography maps of brains too. And he now knows where to find them. You just got to Google in the right place if you think only geography uses topography. So, and sorry, Adrian, I'm not picking on, but everybody's like, oh, hold on, that's a geography thing, not a brain thing. But it is a brain thing. So if you look at session 1, the lady is not yet patching. That red area is the inflammation in her brain. There's a lack of brain coherence. By session 2, which is 3 weeks on X39, you can see the inflammation is all gone. I mean, that's amazing. In 3 weeks, there's no more inflammation in her brain. And by session 3, which is 6 weeks on X39, there's a complete turnaround and there's better brain coherence. So they say there can be noted that when she came in, her brain was hyperactive. It calmed down dramatically after wearing the X39 patch for 3 weeks, and it remained calm. In fact, you can see it's calmer after 6 weeks. And that is absolutely incredible, because you can see it. And she wasn't the only person whose brain they did. They did this on a study of a whole lot of elderly women's brains to compare. So what are the long-term results? And you can go to thisisatinfo.com, the website. They're all on the website, and all medical studies are there too. So within the first few days, 4,000 genes begin to reset. Within 6 weeks, as we've just seen, the brain becomes balanced. Within 3 months, your collagen is increased. Now, when you see things outside, so your skin starts getting better. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are new to patching, take pictures of yourself and take them again, because when you look in the mirror, you don't notice the changes. It's other people who notice that your face has changed and things have changed. So when your collagen is increased, it's not just the outside that it's working on, it's inside too. We need collagen for our muscles, our gut, our ligaments. Everything inside us needs collagen. And when your body's producing its own collagen, that's key to age reversing. Within 6 months, your heart reverses in age by up to 8 years. Now that is phenomenal. So that's why David Schmidt says it's not anti-aging, it's age reversing, because your internal organs are actually going to that of a younger person. So I've been patching now for nearly 16 months. So imagine where my heart is, 24 years younger. I mean, it's amazing. So how do we wear X39? You wear your patch 12 hours on and 12 hours off to repair and rejuvenate. Then you throw the patch away, or a lot of people put the patch on their pets, their dogs, their cats, some even put them on their plants. because there is still some light left in the patch. You put a new patch on and repeat. Now you can wear more than one patch at a time, and we don't mean wear more than one X39. You could if you like, but David Schmidt says it only gives you 20% more efficacy. So for most people, it's not worth wearing more than one X39. But we have patches like Eon for inflammation, LifeWave for pain, and then of course at night you could wear Silent Night for sleep. Aloe Vera, if you're lucky enough to be in a country where you can get aloe vera, which works on skin and it works on the pineal, so it gives you a really good night's sleep. Drink plenty of water and even drink your electrolytes. So I'm drinking my water with electrolytes in this morning. So I add them to my first glass of water, and of course you can use Celtic salts if you want to, as opposed to an electrolyte. Today I've got an electrolyte. Make sure you don't drink one of those electrolytes with a lot of sugar in. So X39 is so sophisticated, yet it's so simple to explain. The testimonials are life-changing and emotional. And the best thing about X39 is it absolutely works. So I think before we go into the business, we should look at people's experiences with X39. So Adrian, I don't know if you want to start, and then we can ask people to put their hands up and share with us, because they will need to unmute them. You unmuted, Adrian.
Yeah, hi there. So thank you. Yeah, so a little story for myself is I've been patching for a few months now, and I'm a runner, and I've been patching myself to do my running on a Saturday morning, and I've been getting lots of personal bests with my running, but more importantly, when I finish my runs, I'm less exhausted. So I've got lots and lots and lots of energy after my runs. But my favorite story is my mother, who I've been patching for her legs, and I patched her the other week for her knees, and she has no pain in her knees anymore from the LifeWave patches.
I think I can do that. My story is I had, well, according to the naturopath, really bad inflammation to the point where I couldn't eat much. I got down to a quarter piece of toast for breakfast. So I had to change my diet completely. The naturopath did help me. It was a very slow process, and I still wasn't motivated, lost energy, not motivated to do anything at all. And I'm very grateful to Adrian for introducing me to the patches, but within 5 days of using X39, I went from about 15% to about 85% in energy. I just went boom, and I've been there ever since. So that has been incredible. You know, even on my off days, I'm like, I'm not feeling really good, but you know what? I've still got this energy. So it's great to be there and to be able to see the light. And other smaller things would be, not smaller really, bursitis. I've had bursitis in my hip for 20 years. And it's my favourite side to sleep on the right-hand side. I'll fall asleep, turn to the right, and it wakes me up. So I've got to turn to the left. And one day in the morning, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've slept all night on my right-hand side. It's gone. It's completely gone. That's amazing. I was losing a lot of hair through my illness. So that was 8 months of being sick. It stopped. No more hair loss. And I think it's growing back slowly, which is great. Another thing, there's an insect on my property that absolutely loves me. So the other day, my hand was swollen. I kid you not, it had a huge lump on it like that. I couldn't move it. It was that swollen. And I put the Eon on it. Within an hour and a half, I noticed a difference. Within a couple of hours, it was gone. The inflammation had gone right down. So, yeah, I'm amazed. Love the product totally. Thank you very much.
Well, that's fantastic, Rosie. Thanks for sharing. Who else would like to share? Anybody else? No one? Adrian? Other Adrian? Adrian squared. Oh, Caroline. There we go, Caroline. You can unmute.
Yeah, I'm happy to share for my little dark screen, but I have personally had some really nice results. I feel over time, it's taken me a little while to get there, but I started up really wanting to fix my knee when I started on this journey, and it's been a long-standing issue for me. I haven't been able to bend my knee properly after a wild dancing night at my niece's wedding. And it's never recovered. So I have obviously had reoccurrent. I think I must have had arthritis long, kind of low running. I've never had it tested, but it's one of those things. It's just not been good. And my aim was to be able to squat one day, because I've heard when you can still squat in your 60s, you're on a good run to somewhere, you know. So I thought, right, let's get squatting. The other day I could squat for 5 minutes. No, not 5, but no problem at all. My knee is bending. And it's taking me good 4 months almost to get there, but I'm so pleased because it really has made a massive difference. And apart from that, masses of energy. I think maybe I've overdoing it slightly because I've got so much energy that I've got myself ill, which is annoying. But I guess sometimes the body says stop. But I do feel I wake up with a bounce every day, and I have a much better sleep as well. So yeah, really, really happy.
Fantastic, Caroline. Thank you. Carla, I know you've just said in the chat you have a story to share. We'd love you to share.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I started the patches Aeon X and X39 on my boys. Ollie has got Asperger's and PDA, which is pathological demand avoidance. And my oldest son has got quite severe ADHD. So within about 5 days, we're on day 8 now. Tom was so much more balanced and calm, just and happier all around, waking up happy, not as talkative. And then Ollie, my ASPE and PDA, is getting amazing results at school. The teacher said he is concentrating so much better. He's opening up to her. He's being kind, talking to her. Normally, he doesn't really have conversation to share, and he's telling her about certain things. So, yeah, she noticed a big improvement in Ollie at school. And his educational psychologist, who he's been seeing now for 3 weeks, his last session, she said he was just so focused on the tests that they were busy doing. So within 5 or 6 days, we've been noticing the boys are just so much more calmer and balanced, which has been amazing. And then I've been using the patches on myself and my husband after the boys have used it. My skin seems to be getting a little bit clearer, but we're also on second-hand patches. So the boys have used them and then we putting them on. And then I've been using the patches on my cat. She's a Siamese. She was rescued on the side of the road, half dead. And she's got terrible eye issues, which is related to her gut. And also just putting those patches on her collar, her eyes are starting to turn blue again. So she literally can't see. They're constantly seeping and mucky, and I've got to clean them out every day. The seeping is almost completely stopped, and her eyes are going from a murky, really dark blue to that Siamese blue. So I can't wait to have photos of that once her eyes have progressed further. So yes, I'm also just blown away by these little things that are happening in our lives, and just the boys being happier and getting on. And I mean, when you've got an ASPE child and a PDA child, it's very difficult, you know, with the meltdowns and stuff. And we've had one meltdown in the last 7 days. And a meltdown normally lasts up to 45 minutes and can get quite horrific. And his last meltdown lasted 10 minutes, and he came round from it really, really quickly. So that's my story, 7 days in.
That is amazing, Carla. I remember when you were deciding whether you were going to patch and what it might do for your boys. It's so exciting. And people always ask, what about children? The children can patch, because often when they have issues like Carla's boys, like the Asperger's, or they're on the spectrum, or they've got health issues, their body is not making the stem cells that they should have properly. Is there anybody else that would like to share? Anyone? No, should we go back to the business part of the presentation? Right, let's go back to sharing screen.
I can do.
Oh, yes, okay, Adrian, great.
Sweet. After patching, on the second day, I felt I woke up feeling I'm not that hungry. Perhaps I'll do a water fast, which is quite unusual for me. I ended up doing a 60-hour water fast at home from supper day 1 of patching to breakfast on day 4 of patching. And that was coming out of, it's a completely unique experience for me. I've only ever fasted longer on retreat. And it was coming out of a greater sense of presence. So the higher aspect of self was more present. That was my understanding of what was going on. So I was making better decisions about my well-being, whereas before I'd been primarily, well, I had a big issue with cravings and being driven by cravings. And I also felt more joy.
What about
lots
your
of
mom?
other testimonies I could
Your mom.
say again.
Your mother. That's a good one.
Yeah, there's lots of other testimonies I could give. I got involved in December. My mum has got heart issues, takes medication every now and then, and not, you know, recently she'd been worried that it might give out. I got her on the X39 and X49, and a couple of months ago she was really worried about losing her marbles as well, because she'd nearly had 3 accidents in the car, nearly not killed 2 people on, well, nearly hit 2 people on a pedestrian crossing and pulled out when she shouldn't have done. So she was really worried about causing an accident, losing her mobility, and she lives in the country, so it'd be devastating. So I upped her patch protocol, and then she's had no further issues with concentration and driving. And she had an appointment with a heart specialist, well, arranged by the cardiac specialist for heart monitoring, because she'd been complaining about her heart. She went in for that appointment a week or so ago, spoke to the nurse. The nurse was asking how she is, and she said, well, I haven't had any issues with my heart recently. So the nurse was then asking her what she'd been doing, because the nurse has issues that she's not been able to resolve in relation to her health, and apparently is going to contact me. And then my mum was doing huge amounts of work. She's 80. She was up early scrubbing floors. She was working in a greenhouse where she's got exotic trees. And then she was cooking meals at night, and she was doing that 2 days running. And it's amazing, because she, you know, she's still up and down a little bit, but what I've noticed is her highs are higher and her lows are also higher. So she's in a very positive trajectory, and it's very satisfying.
Very exciting. Thanks, Adrian.
Yeah.
I had to ask about that because I know we spoke about your mum the other day. So
Yeah.
very exciting. So let's.
Well, I think a leader may have had a hand up. I'm not sure. No. Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're right. Perfect. So let's go back to sharing screen. Right. Okay, so now we are back, I think, but I need to see this presentation so that I can change the slides. Sorry, everybody. I need to get, okay, I've got my one. All these challenges, right? So as I said, this is at info.com. If you don't know where the site is, take a photo and go to thisisatinfo.com, because thisisatinfo.com is where you will find so much information. I strongly recommend watching the first 3 videos. The first one is how the patches work with the sun. Second one is David Schmidt talking, it's 3 minutes. And the third one is an interview with Dr. Leyland Stillman, who is a doctor who's part of the This Is It Info. This is a team. And Leyland isn't part of corporate. He's a team member like those of us on here who are brand partners. He's only just gone director, but he's replaced injecting stem cells into his patients for using patches, because the effects are much more sustainable and better, and he explains why. So I would definitely go and watch that. And then there's a panel of doctors at the bottom, plus testimonies, etc. So when I finally decided that I was going to look at LifeWave as a company, I thought, okay, well, let's have a look at what it actually has to offer, because if I'm going to do MLM and tell other people, I don't want it to be something where they're being charged money every month, have to buy tons of product, and then they're stuck with all the stuff and it doesn't work. That's not the case with LifeWave. But LifeWave is actually the best 19-year-old secret. We still really are a startup company because of how the trajectory has gone over the last 3 years. So in the last 3 years, we went from a $20 million a year company in 2021 to $320 million in 2022 to over $430 million last year in turnover. Now that is amazing. That growth is absolutely incredible. At one stage, David Schmidt was worried that he was going to have to close the company. And that's what's happened since X39 came out. And it's because of the results that people are having. Like listening to Carla's story, how do you not share? So most multi-level marketing companies don't last past 3 years. We are turning 20 this year, and our income has gone up hugely. And most of 2 of those years where it increased were during COVID. We now open in over 75 countries, and if you join, you can build in any of the countries that we're open in. And the exciting thing is we're not a Me Too product, so there are plenty of other really good network marketing companies. Some of them have been around longer than us that have great products. The problem is that if they're a weight loss product like a shake, they've got skincare or supplements, there's another company that has a similar product. So if I say to you, I've got a weight loss shake, you're going to go, well, mine's better. Or I've got a skincare or a supplement, well, I've got one too. And then when the customer or the brand partner is backing financially, they can go into their local budget pharmacy or health shop and buy a similar product cheaper. So there's no loyalty to those companies often, which is the problem. I'm not going to give any names, but we have somebody who went manager this week in our company, belongs to another network marketing company or multi-level marketing company, one of the Me Too products. She's actually at a very senior level there. In her first month in LifeWave, she earned half of what she earns in her other company, and she's been there 9 years, and she's at a level where she is winning overseas trips. So that's how good our company is. It's amazing, and it's because of the results that she is having that success. So we now ranked at the #1 momentum company in the world, herbusinessforhome.org. That's a website in America that rates companies on how they pay people, their growth, all of those kinds of things, whether the product works, all of those types of things. We belong to a team called, this is a team which is led by Steve and Gina Merritt. Our team, we had a team conference at the beginning of the year in South Africa. I watched it. It was actually a virtual conference for wherever anybody was. Our team last year, corporate was there, and they showed this graph. We outperformed the rest of the company from June. So if you look at the graph, we're the blue line, and by June, our team outperformed every other team in the company. Now, Steve and Gina only joined LifeWave just on 2 years ago. So if we look at, we've also just won the DSM 2024 Global Bravo Award for the #1 growth company, which is, again, very exciting. And you can see why when you look at the growth last year. The picture on the left, David Schmidt is in the blue shirt. Meredith is in the skirt. She is our president. And then Steve and Gina Merritt are the couple that is, Gina's between the other two, and Steve has got the black shirt on, just so you know who they are. Now, what is most important in your life? Your family, having more time, having the freedom to do what you want to do. Security, do you want to travel? Do you want better health, less debt? When I joined, it was about the health, but thank you to COVID and living in South Africa, I had a huge amount of debt, and I can now say that I'm completely debt-free. I hadn't traveled, well, also again, thanks to COVID, I hadn't been able to afford to for a while. And Adrian, Oliver, and I, and my hubby actually, are going to be in Prague. This time next month, we'll be in Prague, paid for by LifeWave. So all of these things have changed since I joined in December 2022. We have a very aggressive compensation plan in LifeWave, and getting onto the full compensation plan is as easy as knowing 4 people and going manager. So if that's you at the top, you need to bring in 4 friends. You need to be on gold. You bring in 4 friends who come in on silver or above, and you will go manager, which will open up the binary. Once you open up the binary, we can help you. If you want to earn $100 extra a month, or 500, or 1,000, or 5,000, we can help you do that. When you start, you often think, how am I ever going to get there? But I promise you, if I can do it, you can do it too. And so many of my team are in the same situation. I mean, Eileen, for those of you who know her, went senior director on Sunday, and she had a whole lot of blocks about multi-level marketing, but she absolutely loves LifeWave, the product. Her health has improved dramatically, and she's loving the compensation plan. She calls them her little green numbers, or those little money that drops in all the time. You go to sleep and you wake up, and your team somewhere else in the world is working, and there's more commission in your back office. Now, we also have this, which is even more exciting than the binary, because the binary is capped at $25,000 a week. Okay, I'm nowhere near that, but a lot of our senior presidential directors max that out every single week, and they then go into the matching bonuses, which are uncapped, and you have to be a manager to tap into them. But that means that if Adrian was my first line and he earned $1,000 a week, I would earn 25% of that, but not of his money. The company would give me 25% to say, thanks, Merle. You've helped Adrian to succeed, so we're going to give you 25% of his $1,000 to say thank you for helping him. And then if Rosie was my second line and she earned $1,000 a week, I would get 20% of that and 20% of anybody on my third line. Say Caroline was on my third line. Now, this is uncapped. So if you could just build managers, that's all we focus on. We don't focus on getting to the high ranks. You just focus on helping people in your team go to manager. Eventually, you're going to tap into more and more and more people who are making cycle bonuses. Every time they get a cycle bonus, you're getting either $12.50 or $10. And that can add up quite significantly. So how do you get started? Now, if you're thinking, okay, this product sounds great, but I don't know that I can sell it, you could just come in as a preferred customer. But my advice is what I did, because I was never going to tell another person. I came in on silver, because silver gives you 3 packs. And I knew that it wouldn't do 3 months for me. David Schmidt says everybody should patch for 3 months. I knew it wouldn't be 3 months for me because my hubby and I were both going to patch. But I also knew that we have a plan, unlike a lot of other companies, where if you decide you then want to build, you don't have to go and buy the gold pack because now you're on silver. You just pay the balance and you upgrade to the next pack. So if you're on silver, you can pay the balance and go to gold and you'll get the balance in product. If you're planning on building the business, you need to start on gold. And to start on gold, it's going to cost you $499.95. You'll get 5 sleeves of X39, or you can custom make it. And you will get a supplementary sleeve, that's like the Eon or the LifeWave, as a bonus for free. And that's $69 worth of product. If you're really serious, you can come in on Diamond. And we say it's for the serious entrepreneur, or like the pharmacies. I have a lot of pharmacies in my downline who use product in their clinic. And if you come in on Diamond, it costs you $1,600 basically, but the price of your X39 drops to $84 a sleeve. I know Adrian came in on Diamond. The other thing is when you introduce people, first of all, you don't have to buy product for the next 3 months. And when you introduce people on Platinum or Diamond, and Platinum we're not showing here, you get a bigger product introductory bonus, because we always get a product introductory bonus as well. You also need to stay active. Now, in other companies, that would mean buying the amount of product that my in-laws had stuck in their garage, like 20 plus years after they had stopped doing MLMs, because they'd never succeeded and they just kept buying product. In this company, you never have to buy product for other people. You just sign them up and they pay for the product, it's shipped to them and you get commission. But to stay active, you need, until you're a manager, 1 sleeve of patches a month. That gives you 55 volume. And that means you can earn up to $100 a week on the binary. But if you really want to max out that binary and you're a manager, you need 110 volume a month, which is 2 sleeves of patches a month that keeps you active. My order has arrived this morning for the month. It's 3 sleeves of X39 because my husband, myself, and my 20-year-old all patch every day. So that's already more than I need. I'm an overachiever. Plus, I've got 2 sleeves of Eon because I patch other people with Eon. SP6 because we use it. So I actually have an order that now costs me more than a gold pack. When I started, there was no ways I could have done that. It was like, oh, I couldn't afford that. Now I couldn't live without patches. When you've been patching a while, you don't patch, you feel the difference. We have another site, which is thisisateam.com. Thisisateam.com is where you'll find all the business information. So if you want to know more about the comp plan, because the business side is what excites you, that's where you're going to go. One of my first line, who's one of my directors, Rosanne, who's my really special friend, she lives just up the road. I mean, we're basically neighbors. I think there are 4 houses between us. We spend a lot of time together. She joined me purely for the business. She was already in an MLM company. She's now given that up and she is only doing LifeWave because she absolutely loves the product now. When it arrived, she started seeing the power of the product and it wasn't just about the money. But when she saw my back office in November and saw what I was earning in November, she said, there's no way you can do this if the product doesn't work. But I'm in it because I am in a sticky financial situation. And those people who come from that situation, you can get there. Now, this is very exciting. At the moment, we started last week qualifying for our next incentive, like the incentive that Adrian and I are going on. The qualifications this time are much easier than the qualifications that Adrian had to do end of last year, beginning of this year to get to Prague. We are not going to Punta Cana. This is the American trip. The trip for Europe, which is South Africa and Europe, is to Morocco. And for Australia, the trip is to Vietnam, to Da Nang in Vietnam. And I've been to Da Nang. It's the most incredible place to go. They even have the Dragon Bridge there, which spits fire on a Friday night. So if you are in Australia and you're wanting to qualify, I would definitely say Vietnam will be a great place to go. and it's also incredibly affordable. So you could, you know, the company pay your air tickets, you could stay a little bit longer. So like I'm now doing in Prague. So Punta Cana if you're in the States or Mexico, Morocco if you are South Africa and Europe, UK, Europe, and Vietnam if you're in Australia or any of the Asian countries. So the time is now to make your move. Are you serious about your dreams? There really is hope for your future. Go back to that person who invited you to the call and say, how do I get started? The first call that Carla was on, she stayed afterwards to talk to me and said, well, what do I do? And look at the results she's having with her boys. It really is that easy. I mean, Rosie's story, everybody's stories that we've shared today, if they hadn't taken the plunge and got started with patching. But what I do want to add, people often want the quick fix. Like Carla's having a really fast result. Not everybody has a result so quickly. Don't give up, because the body's healing inside and you don't know what's happening. So I know that month I have an underactive thyroid. I only did my bloods again, my yearly bloods, 4 months after I started patching. My T3 had improved so dramatically we could halve my medication. But I have people in my team who've taken longer. So Alex, who comes from a medical background, it's taken her 10 months to be off all medication, completely pain-free with polymyalgia, but she's had it for 20 years. So her take is that a lot of people give up too soon because they're not seeing the results they want, but you don't know what's happening in the body. Trish and Alex and Trish are both my Life Alignment students from way back when, Alex from 2001 already. So I've known them for a very long time. Trish had bulging discs in her spine, bone on bone, and she was in agony when she started patching. She wanted her back to heal. She's been patching a year now. In her first few weeks, her sleep improved dramatically, but her back didn't, but she kept patching. 2 months ago, she added Eon. She can tell you the exact figures, but within 23 days of adding Eon, she got a notification from her sports watch telling her how her resting heart rate had dropped over the last 23 days. And it was quite a significant drop, and that was from exactly when she added Eon. And now, a year down the line, the Cape Town people in LifeWave did a fair 2 weeks ago where she stood for 3 days. And yes, she had a little bit of pain, but she stood for 3 days. She's got no more bulging discs. She still has a bit of bone on bone, but her back is repairing amazingly. A year ago, she couldn't have stood for 10 minutes without needing to lie down to recover from standing. So 10 minutes to 3 days, but she's persevered. It's taken a year. So don't think that if it's not a quick fix, that it's not happening, because not everybody is what we call a one-patch wonder. Those stem cells are going to what they need to repair first, and you don't know what they need to repair. Because unless you've got lots of bloods that you can compare, you don't know where it's going. Caroline said her knee has taken longer to repair. So just stick in there. Know that David Schmidt says 3 months, but he also says you should patch a month for every decade. So Alex is 65. She says so the 3 plus the 6 gave over 10 months. So just know that it's not something that's necessarily overnight. So thanks, everyone. Adrian, I know you can, I didn't remute everyone, so you can unmute. There we go.
Yeah, wonderful. Look, I really want to thank Merle for presenting and being an inspiration for us to, leading the way and coming on to this course. I know you're really busy with launching so many people. So just a reminder to people, if you are in the space where you are a brand partner and you want a launch, do reach out, because there's lots of people out here who love to help people launching their business. And Merle, I want to thank you again. I've done a few of these now with your assistants, and also Adrian and all the others that shared their stories today. So as Merle said, if somebody brought you on here, please go back to them and have a conversation with them about becoming a brand partner to join this amazing, beautiful company.